The subject we're talking about today is a question we get often, which is, how do I select the right lawyer to represent my family, loved one in a catastrophic injury claim? Catastrophic injury, when we think catastrophic injury, there's obviously certain injuries that come to mind immediately for most people, and that would be severe brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, amputations, loss of vision. There's other types of cases that aren't as obvious that could still have profound impact on a person's ability to function and live an ordinary life. How do you determine if you've got the right lawyer, or more importantly, selecting the right lawyer if you have a very serious injury claim like a brain injury or a spinal cord injury, and the outcome of your case is really going to have a major impact on your quality of life, the resources you have, the money you have to pay for those things over the duration of your life. So I've had the opportunity to be involved in many serious injury claims throughout my career. I'll start by saying I'm very grateful for clients that have entrusted us with very serious claims. I want to say thank you to those families for trusting us. And I'll just share with you some of the things that I've learned along the way that are important to the family and what I think you should look for in a lawyer. I'm not going to put any particular order on these. I'm not going to say this is most important or least important, because I think they're all important, but it will really depend on you and what you consider most important. Number one, you want a lawyer and the lawyer's team that has compassion, empathy, understanding, patience. I think very critical, especially at the very beginning when there's all kinds of questions, concerns, and uncertainty. Compassion to me has been very important. Listening to the family, listening to the victim, care and compassion for that person and that family and what they're going through, because that will drive your lawyer to really push and develop your case to maximize the recovery on behalf of you and your family, to get every penny possible from the insurance company. Secondly, experience. You may not even know all the resources that are available to you. Although you might be getting excellent care and treatment in the hospital, your lawyer, through their experience, probably has encountered cases similar to yours, similar injuries, and has pretty well dealt with all of the leading physicians that deal with that particular injury. So sometimes your lawyer can be a resource also to help you find treatment providers, whether it's physicians, occupational therapy, speech-language pathology, cognitive behavioral therapy, social workers. Your lawyer may be able to help coordinate some of those treatments and benefits for you. Also, resources, community resources, brain injury associations, community groups, crash survivor networks, to help you through the process. So you can have other resources while the legal process is ongoing. You also want a lawyer and a team that's accessible, that's there for you. Things come up all the time. I can remember early on, many years ago, having a client that required 24-hour attendant care and PSW support. And so there were shifts and we were arranging all of this. I remember, that one of our paralegals calling at 12 midnight or 1 a.m. to make sure that the PSW actually arrived as scheduled and everything was good through the evening. And I still remember that. And I learned about it after. I learned about it from the client. That was an action driven by compassion. It was an important lesson for me because it shared with me how important it is to assemble the right team of compassion. It goes back to what I said a moment ago about compassion. The medicals is a big part of the evidence. Lawyers work routinely with medical records and medical providers. You want a lawyer that has experience with your type of injury so that they can actually read those records and know what they're reading and be able to have an intelligent conversation with the experts. It's one thing to hear in layman's terms a brain injury or it's a spinal cord injury. You want a lawyer that actually understands the medical side of it, because that'll help guide not only the resources, but also help direct in terms of the future healthcare that may be needed, the future care costs, the impact that this will have. You definitely want a lawyer that's going to be able to anticipate some of your future needs as well, based on their understanding of the medicine, and get the right experts in place to help tell that story on your behalf to maximize your recovery from the insurance company. For me, my background starting out as a medical malpractice defense lawyer has been instrumental in that. One of my first jobs in litigation was defending doctors and hospitals. The first bit of training that the law firm put me through was learning medical records. That was my job. I had to read and summarize. They gave me textbooks on different medical terms, and I had to really understand the medical, because our clients in those days were actually the doctors or the hospitals. We need to be able to speak their language and understand their profession in order to represent them. At our firm, I make it a point to make sure that they learn the medical records, doing the intensive work of sorting, organizing, summarizing, and making notes and records on medical records. I'd also say, in particular with very serious injuries, catastrophic injuries, it's also important that your lawyer understands that it's not just about the money. They're not just trying to get you the most amount of money. Their role is to make sure you're heard, that your life story is understood and your future is understood, and what's been taken from you is completely appreciated by the other side, whether that's a defendant or more often their insurance company. It's making sure that you have what you need for the future. There's also guidance that the lawyer can give. An experienced lawyer will give you guidance on how to maximize the money available. Despite recovering every bit that we can get from the various insurance policies, sometimes it's just not enough. The person may be young, has many years to live, high medical costs and care costs over their lifetime. And so you want a lawyer that has been through that with clients and can help you maximize the value, whether that's through a structured settlement or an annuity, trusts to preserve the capital and also keep you eligible for other benefits, for government benefits for either healthcare or income continuity, income replacement. So it's not just about advancing the case, getting the settlement. It's thinking ahead and making sure that before this case is completed and closed, that all of that is considered. Also, sharing with you or putting you in touch with the right people that can educate you and your family on what's available out there, whether it's other benefits in your community or in your jurisdiction, or whether it's financial instruments that you can buy with the settlement funds to make sure there's enough money for your projected life expectancy. You know, insurance companies always look to fight. If there's no way to win on the medical side, what do they attack? They attack causation, they attack fault. They look for opportunities to minimize the fault of the defendant. So you also need a lawyer that's going to be robust and aggressive, have the engineers or whatever it might be, depending on the type of case, to investigate the facts of liability and make sure you have a locked down, tight liability case so that there's no opportunity for the defense to get out, so that they have to pay for the harm they caused. So that's also important. I know I focused a lot on the medicals and the future, and it's all very important, but it's also really important to make sure you can prove as much as possible and limit the ability of the insurance company to mobilize and create a viable defense to undermine your case. If you cannot prove fault or they can deflect fault, it doesn't matter how significant the injuries are. Step one is you have to be able to prove fault. Step two is proving damages. Okay, and they're done together, but that's the order of things. You can't get in the door until you prove fault. And also, I would say it's important to get a lawyer as soon as possible after a serious injury claim. Optimize your ability to recover. And so the lawyer can navigate all the insurance complexities, deal with all the headaches of collecting the information, interviewing the appropriate people, and also putting in place the resources you need to help maximize your recovery so you have the best chance of a good outcome from the point of view of your health. Despite the fact that you're dealing with a lot in the immediate aftermath of a serious accident or injury, do turn your mind to getting legal help sooner than later. So here at our firm, we've had the opportunity to help many families, many individuals following serious and catastrophic injuries, from severe brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, amputations, wrongful death, both in adults and children. You know, again, I would say a lawyer that has experience with cases like yours, that's an important question to ask. And, you know, you also want to feel very comfortable with the lawyer. You want to trust the lawyer. You want to have a rapport with the lawyer, because over time, oftentimes these cases will take time and they're extremely personal. You also need to have that level of comfort that this is a lawyer and the lawyer's team that you can see yourself working with for the next year or 2 years or sometimes longer. I hope that helped. If you have any questions about catastrophic injury, what your rights are and remedies are and what may be available to you, there's absolutely no obligation. We never pressure anyone. Zero obligation. You're welcome to call us, meet with us. We can meet you at your home or hospital or in our office or even by phone or video. Get your questions answered and make a real informed decision before hiring a lawyer, because it's going to have a significant impact on the outcome of your case, but also a lot to do with the future. It's a very important decision. Take your time, but get informed. Thanks for watching.